And a very happy Thursday to you at 12:07 in the West. It's the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wangs in Culver City.
Well, John, after the United States Congress voted to undo California's electric vehicle mandate, Gavin Newsom and Rob Bonta held a press conference with a sign that said Trump's GOP is making America smoggy again, and Gavin got real pissy when anyone asked him about his mandate.
We're not mandating. We're trying to reduce. We're not mandating anything. We're saying stop polluting through the tailpipe, which is, by the way, you do remember that because you remember a guy named Ronald Reagan. What was the Clean Air Act all about? They were mandating a reduction of pollution. I mean, come on, guys. You're buying talking points from the oil companies.
Boy, he really hates the oil companies, doesn't he?
He was very mindful about this moment, though.
Big day for big oil. Big day for GM and Toyota. Big day for China. Terrible day for your kids. Terrible day for air quality. Terrible day for innovation and entrepreneurship. So we're here, mindful of the moment we're in.
Okay, I'll say it. He hates the oil companies just as much as he hates Huntington Beach.
That is something we are mindful of.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Well, the top story locally is that jurisdictions in the state of California can go ahead and call themselves sanctuary cities, but at this point, based on moves from the Trump administration, specifically from the U.S. Attorney's Office, they are sanctuary cities no more.
U.S. Attorney Bill Essayli declared that in an interview with Fox 11 as he has found a way into Los Angeles jails despite all of the sanctuary protections, not wanting to transfer inmates over to ICE.
For more on this, here's Fox 11.
Tonight, a bold statement from newly sworn-in U.S. Attorney Bill Essayli. He says California and the city of Los Angeles no longer sanctuaries for the undocumented.
It's a story that Fox 11 has been following all week. Tonight, Matthew Seedorf live outside the federal courthouse in downtown L.A. with more exclusive details on what's called Operation Guardian Angel.
That's right, yeah. This essentially forces local police to work with the feds, and it's something we could see at other sanctuary cities across the country.
It's amazing the change that can happen overnight with one appointment.
This guy is going to single-handedly clean this county up, and they're going to fight it tooth and nail every step of the way.
Level 1 for your arrest. The exclusive Fox images from an L.A. jail highlighting a major shakeup to well-known sanctuary immigration policies across California and L.A. Is this a sanctuary city still?
No.
You notice how when you put certain politicians on, like Javier Becerra or Katie Porter or others, you ask them a very basic question with a yes or no answer, and they start talking about the price of tea in China. And they never answer the question. They use a ton of words, lots of bureaucraties. You can be an educated person and not understand a word they said. Yet this guy, Bill Essayli, who is a very educated lawyer, the U.S. Attorney for the Central District of California, he's asked a basic question, and you get an answer that everyone understands.
And L.A. Is this a sanctuary city still?
No.
There you go.
It is not a sanctuary.
Newly sworn in Southern California U.S. Attorney Bill Essayli drew up Operation Guardian Angel.
We have agents working around the clock. As soon as someone is booked into county jail, we're able to access their fingerprints.
13 eyes.
Late last year, the city of L.A. voted to officially become a sanctuary city.
This law is about making Los Angeles, through law, a sanctuary city.
Hugo.
I'll tell you, this story is the least surprising thing that you'll come across today. Bill Essayli outsmarting Hugo Soto Martinez.
You know, let's criminalize catalytic converters. Let's criminalize copper.
Of course, which one of them makes more?
That's true.
I don't think the U.S. attorney makes $220,000 a year.
I doubt it.
Preventing city resources from...
We really need, at this point, just a voter initiative to cut that pay in half because it's completely insane.
Well, you'd think by paying them as much as we do, they'd figure out a way to streamline the process so that the people in the Palisades can rebuild their homes. But no.
Well, and the whole idea that we pay them so much they won't be corrupt is out the window, too, because how many of them are in federal prison right now?
Oh, speaking of which, I know this isn't the L.A. City Council, but Leland Yee, the state senator from San Francisco who went to prison for running guns, I think he just got let out.
Oh, boy. Can't wait for the tell-all book on that one.
Preventing city resources from being used to help enforce federal immigration laws.
We're forcing their hand. They can't ignore federal arrest warrants.
This week, Fox, the only media there as an L.A. jail transferred an undocumented immigrant over to ICE.
And, you know, Holly should be happy about this. We're emptying the jails.
We're saving the county money.
It's actually saving a ton of money because all of these inmates are going to go to federal prison. So that's another inmate off the dockets, and L.A. County jails are a little less overcrowded. Why is this a bad thing?
And after they serve their time in federal prison, they'll be deported, and none of us will have to pay for them.
At the domestic violence.
Using the illegal reentry law, Essayli now has federal authorities in Southern California jails to arrest inmates in the country illegally who were previously deported.
First, they're going to come to court, and they're going to be charged and tried on that felony, and they may actually end up doing many years in federal prison before they're deported. That is what the California politicians are doing to these immigrants. They are subjecting them to more prison time by doing this sanctuary state policy.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Well, he is trying to put a little pressure on them to change the policy.
A spokesperson from California Governor Gavin Newsom's office pushing back, telling Fox 11 the governor has rejected multiple bills that would have weakened law enforcement's ability to coordinate with ICE.
He is trying to position himself to the center so he can run and win in places like Arizona, Nevada, and Pennsylvania.
Adding state law has explicitly permitted cooperation in these circumstances for many years.
I totally let ICE in. What are you talking about? We don't have a sanctuary policy.
They had to find a loophole to get these guys.
So this isn't just some, power struggle between the feds and the state. We are actually trying to keep people safe.
It's interesting. We haven't really received any major pushback from local leaders on this effort, as well as the governor. It could lead to
Well, there's a lot of local electeds that they don't really want to raise a stink to Bill Essayli for several reasons, including their own corruption, because Bill Essayli is investigating the homeless money, too.
Oh, if he starts looking into that closely, a lot of them are going to go to prison. And they do not want to be on his radar at all.
I think they already are.
I do, too.
It could lead to as many as 50 arrests per week across Southern California. We'll have more from the U.S. Attorney tonight.
There you go. That's the latest from Bill Essayli, the new appointed U.S. Attorney, who has found a way around the city of Los Angeles' sanctuary policies.
Not only is there a new sheriff in town at the U.S. Attorney's office in California, but there's also a new sheriff in town at the DA's office in Los Angeles. And, Randy, we're already starting to see the results.
That's because Nathan Hochman led a multi-agency task force to take down a whole bunch of child predators. They should have hired Black Biden, but they still did a great job.
Not today. Not on Black Biden's watch.
You hire Black Biden, and let me tell you, you'd get all of them.
For more, here's K-Cal.
I actually think the name Operation Spring Cleaning is too nice. I would actually call this Operation Sick and Depraved Cleaning.
Well, that's not catchy.
No, it doesn't roll off the tongue.
Hochman's doing a good job, but he's not one for marketing.
No.
I would actually call this Operation Sick and Depraved Cleaning.
Although I guess it's good. You don't want a top law enforcement official to have a good sense of humor.
No, he wouldn't be a good speaker to roast.
Strong words as prosecutors and police announced the results.
Well, they're words. Whatever. This is a good thing that he did. It's just a silly thing that he said.
Prosecutors and police announced the results of an operation aimed at taking down alleged child predators.
KCAL News reporter Luz Delia Caballero reports on Operation Spring Cleaning with more than 250 arrests and dozens of victims rescued.
we're here to announce the results of Operation Spring Cleaning.
It's a weeks-long multi-agency operation going after sex offenders who used the internet to target children across 5 counties.
Los Angeles.
So when they do one of these things, do they train the police officers to do the catfishing, or do they find professional catfishers out there?
I'm not sure. If they need to find people who know how to do this, I'd just hire the staff over at Dateline.
Los Angeles, Orange, San Bernardino, Santa Barbara, and Ventura. The goal was to identify and arrest predators who are using the internet to sexually exploit children and to rescue young victims from abuse.
The effort led to 265 arrests and was...
Whoa!
That's a lot.
I don't think this operation went on for very long either.
No, I think that they probably thought, okay, there's got to be a few of them out there. And then all of a sudden you get hundreds.
I'm telling you, between Jim McDonnell being in at LAPD, Hochman being at the LA County District Attorney's Office, Proposition 36, there has been such a rise in arrests that the LA County Board of Supervisors is scared to death that now they actually can't close Men's Central Jail.
How many of these guys arrested do you think work at the Lincoln Project?
I had a feeling that joke was coming.
265 arrests and was carried out in 2 phases. The first involved undercover investigations on various social media platforms where suspects were attempting to lure or groom children.
The second phase involved...
So they make a fake profile of a 13-year-old and just watch the messages come in?
God. How screwed up do you have to be to spend your time doing that?
Well, this is why I'm so upset that the television show ended, because it's one thing to arrest these people, but when you're that awful and that heinous, you should be publicly shamed for the rest of your life on TV, immortalized.
You know, Dateline with, who was it, Chris Hansen?
Chris Hansen.
It was the same gag every single time, but people just watched it for years and years and years. It's like Maury. It's the same show every single day, but people can't get enough.
The second phase involved the service of multiple residential search warrants and arrest warrants targeting suspects involved in producing, distributing, or possessing child sexual abuse material and those preying on children online.
In all, 27 children were rescued from ongoing abuse.
Randy, you know that they say that you can't judge a book by its cover?
Of course.
I bet you anything, having not seen the visuals of this report, I could describe physically every single one of these guys.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Let's start with bald heads, stringy gray hair, 5 o'clock shadow, basically Christopher Lloyd in Back to the Future.
In all, 27 children were rescued from ongoing abuse. Some of the crimes these suspects were arrested for include possession of child sexual abuse material, lewd acts with a child, and human trafficking.
I would actually call this Operation Sick and Depraved Cleaning.
Okay, we did need to put that in there twice.
Yeah, that got 2 mentions.
Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hochman putting out a loud warning call to child predators.
Stop what you're doing, or you will be arrested and you will be punished to the full extent of the law.
That's something that we didn't have for 4 years. Even if it is simply symbolic, having a district attorney on a podium saying stop doing a crime or we will prosecute you is something that was not done for 4 years under Ricky.
Do a Google on YouTube.
Excuse me, Georgie.
Oh, no. He was there to protect the criminals, not the victims.
And also a message to parents, law enforcement, urging them to talk to their children about what they're doing online, to monitor their online activity and know who they're talking to.
If they have any friends that are in their 50s, find out what's going on there.
Let me tell you, as we sit here listening to this report, I'm getting PTSD from my jury duty. I got put on a trial that was a sexual molestation trial that lasted for an entire month. And I had to hear for 30 straight days graphic details of what an 89-year-old allegedly did to a 7-year-old. And just hearing this story, Randy, is making me want to go to the pharmacy.
You might be so triggered you end up at Applebee's.
And you know, by the way, I'm on call for jury duty again next week because why not torture John some more?
This is what you get for living in a county where you're one of the few people that's under 70.
I guess.
Better yet, get your kids offline. Get them offline, get them off the internet.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Where else are they going to find those videos of how to blow up a school bathroom?
Yeah, what are these kids going to do? Read a book?
And get them outside. Nothing good is going to come from them talking to strangers online.
In addition to enforcement efforts, approximately 1,000 parents and children received internet safety training to help them stay safe online.
What, is that like one of those HR courses we have to take? Because that doesn't mean anything.
That'll do a lot of good.
By the way, you can skip to the end of the video and just take the quiz.
Not when Disney owned us.
In downtown Los Angeles, Lustelia Caballero, KCAL News.
All right, perverts, there's now a DA who's going to throw you in prison.
And if he doesn't get you, Black Biden will.
Not today. Not on Black Biden's watch.
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, if you missed yesterday's show and you want to find out what you missed out on, that's easy to do.
All you got to do is search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's the Apple Podcasts app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for The John Phillips Show. Hit subscribe. You could download all the episodes. You could also do a Google on the YouTube, and all the episodes are on there. Share them with your friends. Share them with your family. If you're in a political Facebook group, share it there. Share the episodes. Let everyone know, and you'll be able to explain to them why we have sound of the Queen Elizabeth quoting Ricardo Lara.
I may be criticized and dragged through the mud for it and get my wig snatched, as the gay guys say.
You know, we get a ton of emails from people wanting Queen Elizabeth to say the filthiest things.
I do have a line.
Right now, it's time to open up the California Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
You know, Randy, this next edition of the Blotter is a crime where I'm willing to entertain the idea of cruel and unusual punishment if we catch you for doing it.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. In fact, if I catch you purposely starting a fire in a region that's been destroyed by fire, I would be willing to tie you down to a chair, tape your eyelids open, and make you watch The View.
I think that would violate the Eighth Amendment, Johnny.
Maybe.
But there was an arsonist caught on camera in Tarzana. He hasn't been caught by police yet, so watch out. Here's KTLA.
That's in Tarzana say an arsonist is on the loose. The suspect caught on surveillance video setting fire to a dry hillside dangerously close to homes.
And notice that they don't start doing this till it gets hot.
Oh, yes. And don't they get off sexually by doing this, too?
Some firebugs do it because it gives them a pleasure that they can't get anywhere else.
Creeps.
That fire was quickly put out, but the suspect is still on the loose.
And residents are really worried that he'll do it again with disastrous consequences. John Fenolio live in Tarzana, where he talked to some of those worried residents. John?
It's going to be tough sleeping at it, knowing that someone's prowling in the neighborhood, lighting the hillside on fire.
And you know when we catch him, the criminal defense attorney is going to give us this sob story. Well, you know, he's homeless, and he really started fires because he was trying to keep warm, and then he decided that he liked fire a whole lot, and then he got on the meth, and the meth made him want to light fires, so it's not really his fault.
True story. In 2021, when there was a fire in the Palisades, the one that actually gave us this drop.
I've received things on both ends.
Because Mike Bonin was saying that we don't know that this was a homeless person, and Garcetti was at the press conference, and they were saying recall Bonin, and Eric Garcetti said that. George Gascon at a separate press conference said, you shouldn't call this person homeless, and he was probably just trying to keep warm. Turns out he was an arsonist.
Well, there you go. But if you're willing to justify their bad behavior, they're willing to keep on doing it.
Right.
Sandra Micah, this fire consumed about 40 feet by 10 feet of dry grass. You can see the scorched earth behind me right here. Across the street, numerous homes and families, and this blaze gave them a real scare.
It spread so fast.
The fire was roaring by the time Tabby Molina smelled smoke just outside her front door.
I was in my room playing video games, Oblivion, if you know, you know.
You trying to brag? And I know what game that is, but I don't think you needed to tell the TV that.
No, but once you're on the news, you can tell all your friends, hey, turn on the news. I'm talking about you know what.
Playing video games, Oblivion, if you know, you know.
We're overusing that term, by the way.
Yeah.
And I got a call from my neighbor saying that there's a fire outside our house. And in that moment, I'm like, oh, wow, I actually smell smoke right now.
She called 911. Then her neighbor told her the trouble.
By the way, she was so focused on the game that she didn't smell smoke till the neighbor called and told her, hey, there's a fire behind you.
You know, good on her, because I'm surprised a teenager could take themselves away from the video game long enough to answer the phone that's a call alerting them to a fire.
I'm almost 40, and sometimes I can't.
She called 911. Then her neighbor told her the troubling news.
My neighbor said was that there was a man who had set the fire.
This man captured on her home security camera.
She saw a man who was throwing liquid on there, and he ran away. And he had some sort of ski mask on.
Yeah, I'd like to see how the criminal defense attorney tries to get him out of this one.
It's hard to make out clearly.
Well, first we have to catch him.
That's true. It's L.A. County, right?
Yes, this is Tarzana in the San Fernando Valley, just a few miles away from, and this happened yesterday at the exact same time, somebody set a fire in a homeless encampment in the Sepulveda Basin at a site where the LA Olympics is supposed to have Olympic skateboarding in 3 years.
Yeah, that may be moved to Long Beach, too.
It's hard to make out clearly, but you can see the smoke rising from the dry grass and a guy walking around it. The neighbor who witnessed the ordeal did not want to speak.
He can't run away immediately. First, he's got to
stop. I know where you're going with that. I just don't.
Good call.
The neighbor who witnessed the ordeal did not want to speak on camera, but tells us the man looked aimless and appeared to be pouring flammable liquid from a glass bottle on the flames.
Whoa. Wait, flammable liquid from a glass bottle?
Well, if he's homeless, I can assure you it wasn't mouthwash.
So it's not like he stole some lighter fluid. He's pouring vodka on the fire.
But don't call him homeless.
It all happened just before 4 this afternoon on the 18,000 block of Martha Street in Tarzana. The street runs parallel to the 101 freeway. Neighbors say homeless encampments have been an ongoing problem in the neighborhood.
Boy, I just took a minute and a half for the homeless to become part of this story, didn't it?
I'm surprised it took that long.
Neighbors say homeless...
Typically, people that want to just run around starting fires, they don't have their own house to burn down.
No, and this is what happens when you let people who are high on meth do whatever the hell they want.
Neighbors say homeless encampments have been an ongoing problem in the neighborhood. Tabby says firefighters were on scene quickly and put out the flames. She's hoping whoever started this fire is caught soon.
It's horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying to know that not only do we have to be scared of the natural disasters of wildfires, we have to be afraid of degenerates who are going to go and set it.
Well, and we still don't totally know the cause of the Palisades fire. That might have been an arsonist. You remember when all of those fires were happening in this crazy succession, there was actually a guy arrested in the Tarzana Woodland Hills area who was trying to just start fires in people's backyards.
I am shocked that we still don't know just exactly what started that fire. Shocked.
Johnny, we still don't know who started the fire that melted the 10 freeway. And that was 2 years ago.
And wasn't that on tape?
This was too. There's video camera everywhere.
And honestly, I consider it a threat because, honestly, like a murder attempt, because they set fire. And in these conditions today, it's super dry, it's super windy. Easily could have gone onto the brush here, easily could have set the house on fire.
I hope when she grows up, she understands who to vote for.
Unlikely.
All right. Again, neighbors say they told firefighters they saw someone start this blaze. They say LAPD did not respond to this scene. And tonight.
Wait, why not?
I mean, the layers of dysfunction in the story.
We're stretched a little too thin. We have to deal with the other homeless encampment fire that happened 3 miles away.
Well, they start them all the time. When I got off a weekend cruise in San Pedro and I was driving out to the desert after getting off the ship, I had to call 911 on more than one occasion, by the way, because of homeless fires.
1/3 of all the fires that are set are from the homeless.
Are in the process of trying to file a police report. We're live in Tarzana. I'm John Fenolio, sending it back to you in Hollywood.
There we go. There's an arsonist on the loose in Tarzana.
Right now, it's time to reopen the California crime blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
And Randy, the second edition today involves not only an update on a story we brought you yesterday, but another story involving extreme fire risk.
That's because those jackass teens in Santa Clarita that were blowing up fireworks all over the place got arrested. For more, here's KTLA.
That does sound like a gender reveal party.
You know, as much as this sounds like a Texas stereotype, we're a bunch of white trash in California, too.
Look at that. It blew up.
I made it go boom.
Back here, fireworks being set off in the middle of the night, rattling nerves and causing concern among residents in a Santa Clarita neighborhood. This has been going on for months. One resident.
By the way, that didn't sound like a firework. That sounded like Hiroshima.
One resident recording nearly 100 detonations at all hours of the night.
100 bombs?
How many bombs do they have out there?
All hours of the night.
Tonight, finally, some answers and some arrests. 2 teens taken into custody in connection with the fiery pranks. Carlos Saucedo live in Santa Clarita with more on the arrest and residents who are thankful the explosions may have finally stopped. Carlos.
Well, at least for a little while. One of the teenagers was underage, so he's getting cited and released.
Oh, yeah. He'll be back out blowing things up before you know it.
Yeah, well, those who are being held responsible, as you mentioned, are only teenagers, and they're accused of setting off explosions.
I don't think we need to use the word only. They still know better.
Yes. Just because you're 17 years old doesn't mean you don't understand that you live in an area that's at extreme fire risk.
Of setting off explosions as well as fireworks in this area. Tonight, as you can imagine, the community is breathing a sigh of relief.
Whoa!
That sounded like gunfire.
All right, new game. Santa Clarita or Oakland?
Well, that could have also melted the basketball court.
And, of course, that drop that we play frequently here.
Oh, my God, they melted the basketball court.
Was after a bunch of people detonated a whole bunch of illegal fireworks on the 4th of July in Oakland at a basketball court.
I didn't even know you could melt a basketball court.
Well, because fireworks makes you think of a very specific thing. This is way different than the things that shoot out different lights in the sky. These are bombs.
From setting off fireworks.
You know they had to play that one multiple times.
Well, if I was doing this story, I'd play it a bunch of times.
I got to save that. We need that. I don't know what we need it for, but maybe just for the end of the year retrospective, I need my boom yeehaw.
That's the sound of Independence Day, kids.
This is my hometown. Spoiled ass latchkey kids.
You have that, and I have the Strawberry Festival.
It's a heavy blast. The loud bangs have kept this Santa Clarita neighborhood on edge.
It's scary because when we hear them going off, I mean, it's really close to our house, and it's all over the place.
Residents who live.
This is also an area that is so prone to wildfire. You see brush fires at the 514 at least once a year, it seems.
Could you imagine being dead asleep at 3 a.m. and being woken up by that? I would hit the ceiling.
Residents who live near Plum Canyon Park have dodged bullet after bullet.
Well, they're bombs, but sure.
We'll go with that.
Bullet after bullet. But
that's now the third time they've used it. You got to remember, when KTLA knows they have a really good piece of sound, they will play it over and over and over again. That's where we got this. And the entire report for 3 minutes when they were talking about that man who got his Rolex stolen in the Vons parking lot at Tampa and Victory, they kept playing this under the entire report.
But there was also video of that old man being beaten pretty severely, too. And I think it was sweeps.
Constant fear.
It's absolutely terrifying. Every day I look outside constantly just hoping they don't do something.
Those allegedly...
This poor little busybody. Those damn kids.
Those allegedly responsible teens. Some on e-bikes setting off illegal fireworks.
I don't know what it is, but if you're a teenager with an e-bike, you seem much more likely to commit crimes.
Yeah, what's with the e-bikes?
Some of the explosions start fires, like the powerful blast on April 28th. Lily is...
That's the fourth time they used it.
Give it time, they'll use it again.
Lily is thankful it had recently rained, otherwise the flames would have quickly spread.
Now imagine on April the 28th, it was windy and it was dry. We didn't have that rain. It could easily just, burn this place down. We are in the fire zone and we don't need fire. And these kids are doing exactly the opposite. They're putting our life in danger.
Yes, but dumbass kids are dumbass kids. Where's the dumbass kids' parents?
Can't you imagine that woman with that voice being woken up in the middle of the night, rushing outside in her nightgown with curlers in her hair and cold cream on her face, at her wit's end, screaming at the top of her lungs at these teenagers?
On Wednesday morning, 2 teens were arrested by authorities following a lengthy arson investigation.
I'm Cameron. I just wanted to come here to apologize for everything that's been going on.
But
he said he's sorry.
They made him go door to door and say, sorry, my bad.
One of them seen here, identifying himself as Cameron Tucker, an 18-year-old student at Valencia High School.
I brought you a note and...
Go Vikings.
I brought you a note and I wanted to apologize. I was the one that lit off that pretty big firework.
Can judges even do that? Force you to go door to door handing out handwritten notes?
I don't know if this is the judge. I think this might be this guy's parents.
I was about to say, who's the judge in Santa Clarita? Judge Joe Brown?
On Sunday, he handed out this apology letter to several residents remorseful for his actions.
And one of them turned him in? Because now they know his name.
That was a mistake.
He was taken into custody at the school. A 17...
I love it. The cops descended upon Valencia High to arrest this guy.
I wonder if they arrested him in chemistry class.
A 17-year-old was also detained, cited, and released to his parents.
I think this is a very important lesson for them, because right now they're still young. Sometimes they don't think the consequences.
And tonight, Cameron Tucker was released on bond. The 18-year-old is set to appear in court this Friday morning. Now it's unclear if more suspects will be arrested. We're live tonight in Santa Clarita. Carlos Salcedo, KTLA 5 News.
There you go. They arrested the jackasses that did this.
Yeah, just wait till they graduate and go to college and join a fraternity. It's going to sound like the Stardust being imploded.